Okay, I think we've got another little technical problem here, but anyway. Hello, everybody. So we missed out on the header there, and I'm not sure why, but now, if all is going extremely well, we'll be actually live on YouTube as well as Facebook. So we sorted that out today, but then the header that we just put on, that we've always used, didn't come up. But anyway, so this is going to be an interesting one. I might waffle on a bit, but I'm going to talk about a few interesting subjects. One's quite controversial, which will surprise a few people, I think. It's the first time we will have spoken about it. And then we'll get on to the ETAs and all the rest of it. It's looking all very exciting. We didn't have to, but we actually decided to issue a weather alert for translated and maiden. But I'll explain a bit about that when we do the tracker. In the meantime, it's been interesting watching the tweets. A few comments coming up about, why don't they tweet more often? And they could do so much and so on. And yeah, that's interesting. They have to do one compulsory tweet a day, and they can do up to 4 a day, one every 6 hours. But sometimes just doing one is more than enough for the crews, because they're in their own world, and that's part of the enjoyment in some ways, not having to make that connection with the outside world. But people love it. Anyway, the funny one is that last night we had an interesting communication from Evrika. I was copied in on a big logistics email going direct to the manager of Evrika, and I was kindly CC'd in on that. And that, of course, is banned in terms of satellite communications, using them for logistics purposes. And the first breach on that is a 24-hour time penalty. And I think what happened, I had a bit of a smile when it happened, because I was CC'd in on that communication. And obviously they've been thinking about it. Evrika, like many boats in the fleet, are way behind their originally declared routing program and ETA into Cape Town. We all had a principle of, we asked all the entrants what did they think their average time is going to be into Cape Town, and we got that from virtually everyone. I think there was only 1 or 2 boats that didn't give us a program, and we based the restart time on that, so that's all fine. Anyway, so Evrika and other boats are running late, and they would love to talk to their managers and talk about issues servicing boats and coordinating crews and so on, because we've got some boats that have also had crew problems, issues, medical issues, also for all sorts of reasons, that now don't want to continue after Cape Town. So we've had a couple of messages from some boats asking us to pass on the fact that, you better get them organised to sort out reserve crew, because there's 1 or 2 getting off and stuff like that. Now, when that happens, in that situation, we just immediately, because it comes to OGR, comes to us, and we look at that as that's just they just don't get it, or they've made a little mistake or whatever. And so it's not a penalty situation. We obviously don't allow that communication to continue. We stop it in its tracks, and we go back to the entrance and say, look, sorry, guys, you can't use satellite communications for logistic purposes or communication with family and friends and all those sorts of things. So it just doesn't get through the system, and we tell them that. And so I think the conversation might have gone something like this, and I don't know, I'm only speculating. Excuse me. But I can imagine us sitting around the table in the Evrika saying, oh boy, we've got all these people flying in, and we've got all these, other things happening, and we want to do this, that, and the other. And so, we can't contact them, but what the heck, it's a 24-hour time penalty, and there's a lot going on because we were way late, and this, that, and the other. So for whatever reason, Evrika decided to send that communication to the manager, and that is a breach of the notice of race. So it will be a 24-hour time penalty as declared in the notice of race. And I think they've decided to accept that in the scheme of things, because, as I say, everyone's in this event for different reasons, and that's how it works. I may be completely wrong here. Maybe Evrika is thinking, it's just logistics, it doesn't matter, so we'll do it. But I got a feeling they've just accepted that fact. Having said that, I've got to say that we place a lot of importance on the security of the satellite communications coming from the boats. We monitor everything that's happening, and we do quite a bit of work to make sure that no one breaches the general rules of using satellite communications for, communicating with family and friends, and for whatever reason. And the penalties for that are quite severe. and we have forensic analysis of all of the SIM cards in all the Iridium phones and in the Iridium Go exec, which is used for the sending the photographs and so on. And the same, there are various rules and regulations associated with the Starlink terminals on board. And as I've mentioned in the past, we monitor that, and we continue to monitor that, and we treat breaches of those conditions quite seriously. The case of Evrika is a bit different. That's just a straightforward, straight up front decision on using the phone for one particular role. But that gets completely different if someone's using it and we have to discover it. Okay, so and that's an ongoing process. But anyway, we have some quirky rules in the OGR, about retro, like sextants and paper charts, and no satellite comms to family and friends and bits and pieces. It's got to be by radio. And it's an important part of bringing everything back to 50 years ago, and that creates challenges as well. And on that fact, we've had a few incidents where we have a policy that we can allow satellite communications to the boats, and it comes down to life and death. If someone's had a baby or whatever, that's life, and that's it. And if someone's had an unfortunate situation or whatever it is, we assess that at the time, and we judge it on some fair rules and concepts. And so there's been quite a few of those this trip. It's been surprising. I think we've had about 5 different requests for communications for various issues, and only on 2 occasions we've approved them, because when you set off on the OGR as a crew member, you're going to be isolated and out of touch. So if there's something that's happening, we don't necessarily allow it to open up just because it might be important or whatever. You join the OGR and you're isolated, and that's it. So anyway, so lots of different things, and lots of stories will come from that as once we're into Cape Town and so on. We're looking forward to it. It's going to start tomorrow. We finally got our banners today. That's a whole story. So the rails are going to have the bits and pieces, and Marco has sorted out the office. We look pretty organised in there. And we've got the boat sorted. The Royal Cape Yacht Club's ready to go. We did systems checks today with all the live gear, microphones, bits and pieces. We've actually got noise-cancelling microphones now. So hopefully when Ada and I are doing lives, you won't hear the stuck in the background, and everyone's going, why don't you get decent mics? Well, technology's changed a bit again now. So we appear to have the right gear this time, and we're really looking forward to it. And it's kind of ironic, because when we looked at the ocean race when they were here many months ago, they were still having exactly the same problems that Ada and I used to experience when you get high engine noise in the background, and then wind noise is easy to put a muff on it, but it's the overall system just blows it off the top and you don't get the right audio. Well, now we finally nailed a system which should give us a reasonable bit of audio. So we're looking forward to that. And it's all happening very soon. So straight to the tracker. I'll come back to the comments later on when we get to the end. So if I press that button there, we should be into the tracker. Yep, there it is. Now I've got to get onto it and start talking. So a bit of an overview. They are getting really close. In fact, Helsinki's very close. You can just about see her out the window here. And you can see we're starting to get a little bit organised in that there is the main South Atlantic high, but there is another little one squeezing in at the bottom here. There's another one trying to take shape, but that's supposed to be, they always go out to the east, so that should slip away underneath, and this should become the dominant factor, which it already is. So let's talk about it and see what's happening. Godspeed. They did a bit of a 90-degree turn there. It's would have been a bit of an eye-opener for them, for sure, because they're coming down here and thinking, we don't want to keep going to the west because that loses everything that we've gained. And then when they realise they're going out to the east, it's sort of like a tack to nowhere. And they've come back down, and I think now that would have been a bit of a, wake-up call. And so now I think you'll see whatever's going on there, they may figure, if we look at their position overall in the Atlantic, they're still smack bang in the middle. It's a losing tack out there. They don't necessarily need to be over there. I think you'll see now they'll give up on tacking and come straight down and hook around, very similar to what Evrika did here, okay, going down the line there. So at least it might get them there quicker. Interestingly, seeing we're here, Outlaw is doing a very good job there. They're really nailing it in terms of trying to maintain the integrity of that decision to stick to the east of the course. And they're doing a pretty good job. They're in touch. But I think this is going to be, and sometimes you get hammered right here. These trades could have been really pushing through heavy and they'd be hating every minute of it. But it's showing about sort of 10 to 15 knots, maybe pushing up to 20 knots of this sort of close to southerly. It's not really a southeasterly either, but they're fighting really well. And I think the conditions are being fair and reasonable for them. Sea stated to be a couple of meters. In fact, let's look at it. So they're actually doing good things at the moment. Yeah, that's a couple of meters. All things considered, yeah, they're doing okay. So as for boat speed right now, 6.9 knots, that's pretty good to be heading in that direction. Maybe 130 miles they've done. I think they've, made good towards Cape Town. So that's reasonable. I didn't mention Godspeed's net result, 7 knots. So they're still doing pretty well. And Avrika, seeing we here, 6 knots. They're driving into a bit of a hole here now as well. It's going to slow them up even more. And, Evrika's case is a classic because we really did look at I won't go into the numbers, I haven't got them here with me now, but we looked at the speeds of Sayula in the first leg of the 1973 Whitbread race when we decided on the actual restart date here in Cape Town. And boy, I also thought that our Swan 65s now, even though they're exactly the same boat, would have been able to maybe peak a little bit better than Sayula. Or at least hold their own. And I think generally what this is saying is the weather that's been presented to the fleet has been completely different than what it would have been in 1973, and it's surprised a lot of people. So it's I can honestly say, in my opinion, knowing the guys and girls on the Avrika, it's no reflection on their sailing ability. It's been pretty tough weather. And I wouldn't even say it's got to do with weather forecasting either. They might not be getting weather forecasting, but the weather's been strange. And just to reiterate, that message that they sent to their manager, I don't see that as a problem. It's not as they're just to clear the air. They're not cheating. They've made a strategic decision, and they've CC'd me in on that communication. So I'm pretty comfortable with all that. They just figured it's everything in life. And in yacht racing has a cost-benefit factor. And they've looked at it and said, oh, well, it's going to cost us 24 hours, but what's the benefits? Well, the benefits are pretty cool. They can get organised and go from there. So they went for it. So I'm comfortable with that, doesn't worry me at all. So the good news, ETA tells me, I wasn't watching it so much today, I've been really busy, but ETA tells me that Explorer has been sitting on the highest boat speed for the whole fleet virtually all day. And there it is. Hard to believe she's doing 8.9 knots, okay, streaming along to Cape Town. And if she kept that up all the way, she'd be here for the start. But I don't know whether she's going to do that. But it's pretty clear to see why. She's got 30 knots from the northwest or northwest, and it's really exactly where they want to be. So long may they hang on to that little number and really push through. So that's pretty interesting. And the other most interesting one for me is Galliana with Secure. If you saw their posts, in fact, I better put the latitude grids on here. Tapio, without question, headed south, right? And you can see straight away the general principles. Look at this. There's the center of the high. Tapio, he's not down at 40, and you don't need to be at 40 in this longitude. You need to be in 40 somewhere through here, right? And he's made a big move to go down there, but it's not working out so well at the moment because of this guy here. There's another high pressure there. It hasn't affected him yet. At the moment, they're doing okay. He's rocketed down on this one. They've now bitten the bullet, and they're heading for Cape Town. And Tapio knows it's still a bit early, but he can't keep going south forever. He's got to... you're generally in that position. You should be heading down like this. Now, hopefully, I haven't seen the weather progression over the next couple of days, but hopefully this high will bugger off, and then you'll see this swing around and create more of a traditional anti-clockwise movement around the center of this high. And all these guys are stuck in the high. So that sometimes, without looking at the weather, can happen for days. And if that was the case, then Tapio would zip along underneath them and maybe even pass them. But let's see what happens. So anyway, Galliana with Secure definitely made the tactical move. 7.8 knots, which is really cool. 148 miles. And we will see in the next few days whether that was a good move or not. But I think generally it's hard to lose when you do that. And he'll probably even dip down more later on because everything's happening traditionally here. Okay, so Sterner on the move, 7.8 knots. That's good. He'll be happy with that. 177 nautical mile a day. White Shadow, 5.7 knots, 162 miles in the day. He's happy. I read his tweets. He says, whoop, whoop, whatever. I'm not sure what. I thought it was Pippa or something, but he's certainly happy. Triana's parked, and Neptune's going to T-bone him. Looks pretty good. I might be too small a scale here. I just realised. Just remembered rather. So yeah, you can see Triana parked there for a while. I'll get rid of that. Currently doing 2.3 knots. Neptune doing 2.1 knots, and White Shadow boring down on 5.7 knots. And the Esprit de Key, something like that, is not moving super fast overall for the total distance in the last 24 hours, but she's moving and heading in the right direction. She's definitely nothing wrong with heading down south a bit. 6.8, 94 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. I won't talk about the others yet, but what I'll do now is I'll come back and I'm going to see if we can do an overall assessment of the weather. I'm not going to worry about Godspeed. You don't know she's coming. She's in the trades. That's going to be fine. We can't really see it that well. And I don't really want to show you the lead boats because that's distracting, but I certainly want to see what's going to happen here over the next few days. So I'm just going to toggle it through, and you can see the center of that high is starting to shrink a bit. So Tapio's got plenty of breeze there. I had a look on Windy, and it's not over the 35 knots, and they'll keep sailing with that. So they'll have big seas there, actually, on the beam, which is quite interesting because he's let's just have a look at what's happening with Tapio and the waves. Yeah, there's 4 meters there. 4 to 5 on the beam. That could be quite interesting. Everywhere else here with the calm weather, they're just under 2 knots, so that's quite pleasant. And you can see it's building over here, the leaders, but we will talk about that later. So back to the wind and get rid of that. Hit that again. And okay, so this is into about 24 hours from now. In the 20th, so there's 24 hours later. Yeah, Galliana's sailing fine. I think all the others through the middle of the fleet are still sailing. I think Explorer should be able to keep moving at about, she should keep moving at 7s and 8s through all of this because they lost the big winds from the north, but they've got a good following breeze there, and she'll be down in this position here somewhere by then. So nice breeze riding the back of this low. There's nothing wrong with that. That's quite a cool idea. So they'll get a bit of a kick for a while. Okay, so now the mid-fleet's got northerlies. Evrika's got enough breeze to keep going, so she'll keep heading the way she is. And Outlaw, life starts to get very interesting in a couple of days. They got to really earn their keep now, but it might work. So this is on the second day, all right? You can see Galliana. She's not in the roaring 40s, but she's getting plenty of westerlies. So Galliana's on the move. And let's see how it's done. By then, though, the mid-fleet is also heading down. And if they're smart, they'll keep riding down. They don't want to approach Cape Town. I harp on this all the time. If these guys here in the middle are smart, they will keep heading right down here. You got to get down ready to zip across. And I think they might all know that now, but let's wait and see. So that's 2 days out. Let's just keep rolling. Go through to 3 days. Galliana, big westerlies. They'll be loving that. They'll be roaring along, and they'll start converging on these guys. Now they should all. I doubt whether they'll be bold enough to start heading across. Surely not. But let's wait and see. By then, these guys should be down here somewhere. That's on the 22nd. So we're going to see them arrive next week for sure. Okay, so this is just. It's 22nd, so 19, 20, 21, 22. So it's 3 days. Where's Galliana going to be? Look where Explorer's going to be. Completely parked. They're going to be, Explorer is going to be in 3 days, going to be around about there. I'd say about here or here. So she's going to stop again. Sorry. Anyway, so that's Explorer's story. They're going to sail for 3 days, then they're going to park. And then... Galliana, I'd say in 3 days, they're going to be somewhere here, still rocketing along. That's okay. And 3 days for these guys and girls in the mid-fleet. they should be down around here somewhere. So I think Galliana's still in touch. He's going to be maybe 400 miles behind. That's okay. These are big boats. So yeah, I think that all makes sense. So you can see they're going to be pretty respectable, all moving okay. I think Avrika might get through this lot, or maybe not. What happened there? Let me just have a look here and go back. The center of that. Yep, she's not going to get through. She'll be very lucky to get through that. Might just make it, but may get parked there after 3 days. An Outlaw, where did we say on that one? Let's go forward and look here. Oh boy, that's cool. Light winds to the 23rd. That's cool too. Outlaw's looking quite hot there. That's the 23rd, so that's nearly 4 days, and that's about as best you could ever hope for on this. To get light to moderate light headwinds 4 days from now. She's, in terms of vector made good, she's probably going to be 500 miles out there. Yeah. So that's interesting. Keep an eye on Outlaw. It may work for her. Let's see what happens here. Just pushing it for, oh, yeah. Okay. Outlaw is looking potentially very cool. So might kick a goal there. So, okay, that's it. Now I'm going to talk the main game. Here we go. What's going to happen? When are they going to arrive? All those sorts of issues. Marie Claude, the manager of Maiden, turned up today. The translated team turned up a couple of days ago, and the Penjuic, a couple of guys, the film crew for Penjuic turned up, and Spirit's got no one here yet, but Pete and Rian, locals here that help us a lot with the GGR, are giving them a hand to sort out their logistics. But you can see what's happening, and this looks really dramatic, and it sort of is in a way, because Spirit of Helsinki is not far away. I'm going to forget about Maiden and Translated for the moment. We're just going to focus on this. And they're really close, and it's kind of nerve-wracking for us, because if they kept doing what they're doing, they would be there in no time. Now, the tracker spacing is upgraded to every hour. So this was at 1900 UTC about 20 minutes ago. It's current, and the same with Penjuic. She's 1900 hours UTC as well. And they're running on hourly, and it'll turn into half hourly and then 15 minutes. And as they cross the finish line, it goes live for the last little bit, so you can actually determine the time that they actually cross the line. And if you saw the other post, you can zoom into the Cape Town picture, and you can actually watch them cross the finish line if you're that way inclined and don't want to watch Ada and I do the actual live. That's what you should be watching. Oh boy, that'll be fun. So that's pretty cool. Now, how far out are they? Well, I can just read it off the box. Actually 48 miles out, and they're doing 7 knots. So that's 9 hours. That's right? 49, yeah, 7. Oh, jeepers, I got to be careful here. Something like that. Yeah, I was never good at maths. So it's not far away. Yeah, better get serious here. 7 knots, yeah, 7 hours. So 7 hours away, and it's now 9. Let's say from 9 o'clock, it's 7 hours. So there's 3, 5. It's 4 hours. So it's 4 o'clock in the morning. They would cross the finish line, but it's not going to happen, because you can see the weather's changing as they move out of it. But they're both moving out of the heavier winds. These have been 25, 28, maybe 30 knot southeasterlies, maybe east southeasterlies. They've held high, but you can see for sure Penjuic doesn't want to go this way. She just does not want to go that way, but has had to do that to keep boat speed. She's pointing as high as they possibly can. That's why they're only doing 6 knots. And she's blown off course by the southeast wind. But it's happening really on the doorstep, so it's not a major drama. But it is compared to what Spirit of Helsinki had. And you can see, if we look back, Helsinki has been going for boat speed and losing a bit of the windward advantage each time. So to there, she lost a bit compared to Penjuic was trying to hold their own during this period. And Helsinki was paying off a little bit to go to boat speed, and that's kept her ahead. And then, bang, done it even more, because she can afford to, because she can literally smell Cape Town. And that's given them a speed advantage as well. So Spirit of Helsinki, 7.2 knots, Penjuic doing 6 knots. And that was worth a knot easily on that leg. So tactically, that windward advantage paid off. But will it be an advantage going into the line? And honestly, there's some funny things going to happen, and some of that advantage may be lost. So I'm going to push it up one more notch so you can see exactly. Now I've compared this graphic to the actual windy site, and it's reasonably current compared to the windy site, which I use for detailed weather. And so what you see is what you get. And very soon, in the next hour or so, moving forward, and just to give you a distance perspective, right? There's the miles. There's 45 miles from Cape Town. So in the next hour, she's going to go for 7 miles. So in an hour's time, Helsinki is going to be about there, where this blue dot is there. And it's coming out of the yellow, going to the green. Wind direction is the same. They can shake out a reef maybe, and literally roar in and heading to. So there's 1 hour, and there's 2 hours, something like that. And so 2 hours out, and let's just say 3 hours out. If that was right, I should be heading across a bit. And that's where she'd be in about 3 hours, which is midnight tonight. It's not very far away. It's only then 22 miles away, and I want to be asleep at that stage. Okay, so what's the weather going to do? So in the next 3 hours, you can watch what happens to the weather, and you can also check out Penjuik. Penjuik, same situation, but there's a bigger band because she's coming in from a different angle. So from Penjuik's perspective and Helsinki, you want to watch the wind direction as this is going. Forget about the light winds up front, but just watch the wind direction. There's 2-3 hours coming in. You can see the wind band is moving back. So she's not even going to make that distance with Helsinki. Is not going to happen. Penjuik can, because the wind direction hasn't changed. So she'll make that boom, boom, boom. 3 miles will be up here. Helsinki, on the other hand, after a couple of hours, she's got light headwinds have come in. And that's because this is a low pressure system forming just to the north of them. If I come back, you'll see how this is happening. There's the low pressure system that's formed, and that's creating the northerly breeze. So the first thing Helsinki is going to get is a northerly, whereas Penjuik can sail across it. She can go right to the bottom of this low, but then she's going to have to tack back. Okay, so what may sound good in one hand is not so good in the other, because you want to get over here to Cape Town. So where do we go here? There we go. So pushing it through now, you can see there's another thing happening at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. You see there's not much wind at all around the edges of Cape Town here. So they're going to slow right down. Even if they're tacking, there's not much wind close to the coast. It's going to die out. This is a complete calm here. It's going to extend out over the top for Helsinki. And Helsinki could park there. Whereas look what happens to Marie. Yes, the wind is not from the right direction. And in fact, it's horrible. It turns right on the nose, but at least she's got wind and can keep sailing. So she could actually, or he could actually, close the distance, right, to Helsinki if Helsinki parks somewhere here. And you'll see the big area of no-go sits there until, we're into midday already. Hang on, I'm coming back here. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning. There is no wind there at all. And the windy site confirms that. So Helsinki's going to be locked out. And this is at 8:30 in the morning. There's no way it's going to be in through here. So we'll be on edge. We'll have to sleep with our eyes open to watch. But it looks like this is a blocking band of no wind. Sometimes you can get little local flukes, and if you're clever, you can sail to it and come in. So she might try a sneaky attack when we think she's coming in at 9 or 10 o'clock, and she might be right on top of us. So we have to be very alert to make sure we know exactly what's going on. Oh, the internet's just dropping there for a minute. Anyway, so it's just too hard to predict now because of these calms and the light headwinds. So I have to make a generalization. And my gut feeling is that the absolute earliest, if Helsinki did everything, Spirit of Helsinki did everything right and came in the fastest possible time, there's no way we're going to see her before 6 o'clock in the morning. 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning, that's the absolute earliest. But my sixth sense suggests that they're probably not going to turn up until somewhere around 10 to 12 in the morning, because this breeze, if I follow that through, it doesn't kick in. You can see it's got light headwinds or virtually nothing. There goes 8:39. There's a big hole there, no wind, and then all of a sudden you get this sort of starburst from what used to be the low, which has just disappeared into space. Or this one's disappearing up here, but this is just like I call them starburst, but they're not. They're just nothing. There's a lot of nothingness there. But that's 11:30, and then you get this slight push a bit of breeze behind, spinning us up and bring you into the finish. So what's happened to Marie through all of that? I'm not sure. She'll be in here somewhere, but it's highly unlikely that she won't take out Helsinki, but she's going to close the gap. I really think she might close the gap to within 4 hours or so, 4 or 5 hours, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, that's probably enough of all of that for now. Oh, jeepers. I could hear everyone screaming. What about translated and maiden? Oh, boy. Okay, so the reality there is there's some big wins coming for translated and also maiden. Now, the gap between the two, I'll also go on to our IRC in a minute. I'll call the tracker up. So maiden is basically about 75 miles behind translated. Pretty hard to collect, but anything can happen in these big wins coming. So Spirit of Helsinki and Penjuik are out of the big wins. That's pretty much a done deal. So if we go back here, I'm going to go for Marie. So there's 138 miles behind Penjuik, and they're currently doing 8 knots. They're going to hold that speed pretty well. They're having to hold high, but I think they're going to hold it. And Maiden's doing 7 knots, so that's possible as well. So that's going to be about 12 hours or so. 12 hours behind. That sounds about right. But on Saturday, and this will be the whole thing, I think they might be out of it by then. But on Saturday, there we go. So this is today. That's real-time weather. So you can see there's a difference. Translated is already in it, and Maiden's about to come into it. And it's going to start to blow quite hard on Saturday. So this is the Friday. And then we come in. We're still on Friday night. Friday night, they're going to be right here. And Friday night's okay. It'll be blowing up to 30 knots, gusting 40. But when it rolls over to Saturday, and that's 1:30 in the morning, it's going to intensify. And it looks as if it's dropping off a bit there, but it could get up to. It wasn't making the 35 knots, which is our trigger for a weather alert, but certainly Maiden and translated is going to be there, and Maiden will get the same. They could get wind speeds of 30, 32 knots, and then gusts up to about 40, 45 knots and about 4.5 metre seas. And they're pretty much going to be on the nose. It's going to be quite forward of the beam, and that can be quite damaging for boats if they're not sailed well. And I have the utmost faith in both crews, but watch this space. It's going to be quite a bit of pressure on everything just at the last minute, and they'll certainly be absolutely excited about reaching Cape Town, because I get hammered the last miles for both of them. They're going to have to work really hard. Okay, let's have a look at the IRC situation, just to because it's playing out towards the end game now, and I think the writing is on the wall. Spirit of Helsinki, this is line honours. You've got all that. We're going to go straight to IRC overall. Translated is showing a corrected elapsed time of 45 days, 11 hours, and 9 minutes. The next closest is, at the moment, it's Spirit of Helsinki, and that's pretty cool. They've got they're actually going to be 11, so for just under 2 days behind Translated. So there's no question that Translated has a huge break on Spirit of Helsinki. So that makes them very secure on IRC. So assuming nothing goes wrong, touch wood, I'm slamming the wood. It's highly likely that Translated will take out IRC honours in this first leg. Spirit of Helsinki, on the other hand, against Maiden, is they've only got a break of 11 hours. I think that's enough, because what's going to happen is Helsinki's out of the heavy winds, but Maiden's about to approach the winds. So that would tell me that Spirit of Helsinki is probably in line to take line honours and be second in IRC overall. I don't think Maiden can push harder on a handicap time to change that result there. Now, Penjuik, on the other hand, has currently got she's basically, 1 hour, and so that's 6 hours. So she's 18 hours behind Penjuik. Okay, and will that change? I don't think so, because both Penjuik has the challenge of not being able to make a direct course to Cape Town. she's going to be way too far north. She's going to have to tack at some point, and she's still going to be upset by the slow approach with calms and everything. Okay, so and that's maybe compensating for Maiden, which has got to put up with these big winds, which is probably going to slow them down a bit as well. So it's going to balance. The key difference there, if there's a chance for Maiden to push up to third, for Penjuic to try and catch Maiden on handicap, will be what happens to Maiden when she gets through the breeze and if there's any calms and wind shadows on the final approach to Cape Town. So it's all looking pretty set. And then Triana is a day and a half behind Penjuic. I don't think she can pull that off between now and then either, but there's room enough to do it, okay, for Penjuic, but not for, I think it's too far gone. I can't see anything happening 5 days at the moment. So what you're seeing there is pretty much what you get, and it's all very exciting. So great way to finish the race. It's not over yet. Touch wood, it's never over till the fat lady sings. Back to, this is taking a while, this one, but I figure most people have got nothing else to do anyway. So not really. So now I'm just going to come up here. Oh, sorry about the waffle. It's been going way too long. I'm just going to have a look at, see if there's any comments here. Netta, hello. Good afternoon from Waveland. How are you? Sitting on pins and needles. Yeah, it's good, eh? Where's Wally? Sure, Shane. Yep. He's another sailor. Anyway. Plymouth, good evening from Ireland. Good morning, Don from Adelaide. I think I missed Jackie there. Yep, evening. Ada, hello from the Rib. Don, the seals. Oh, yeah, we're getting attacked by seals. We've got our Rib in the water in the marina, and the seals keep wanting to lob in, and we blew 2 cleats off the bow of the Rib. So you get a big heavy seal go boom. Anyway, we put the covers on. So Marco is in charge of anti-seal work. Anyway, howdy, John. Killing the time slot. Good on you. No technology makes the race so special. Yeah, I agree. I really, I get it for sure. I missed you guys this evening. Saw Marco putting up the banners. Alvin, oh, cool. Had a quick chat with him. Yeah, we had to leave. We finally got all our banners delivered. And so Marco's down there putting up about 200 metres of banners by himself at the moment because we're all doing other stuff. But anyway, all good. Wondering how Explorer managed to share out her remaining jammy dodgers. I don't even know what a jammy dodger is. It must be a British thing. Are any of the leaders faster in light wind? It depends what wind direction. No specifics to say faster in light wind per se, but certainly Maiden's a little bit different concept to a Swan 65, but that's why I've always been saying translated as always seems to be sailing above her pay grade, doing really well to keep there, and the girls on Maiden are doing really well. So that's a possibility. A bit lighter maybe, a bit more power in certain conditions, but I don't think there's going to be an advantage going into Cape Town. YouTube video and sound coming in good. Thanks, John. Good to know. So we're back on track with that. It was important to do that, and took a while, but anyway, we're there. The question about Outlaw's 32-hour compensation, as well as adjusting their finish time, does the 32 hours get added to the 4 days allowed for the late restart? As well as adjusting their finish time, yes. Does the 32 hours get added to the 4 days allowed for the late restart? No, she's not given 4 days allowed for the late restart. All that happens is the 32-hour compensation is given at the time she crosses the finish line. So if she crosses the finish line at 12 o'clock one day, okay, we would subtract 32 hours from that finish time. So it's like as if she will have crossed many days before, or no, she would have come in a lot earlier than is shown on that. And then somehow we'll have to get a calculator out here and sort of work out how that interplays with the IRC handicapping, but it obviously does. So that's cool. Mr. Bisbee, hi. Explorer humming along. Absolutely cool. Curly, welcome. I'm looking forward to your interviews. Oh, that's the thing. Yeah. Adil, good evening from our sofa with a beautiful open fire in front of us. It's hot here, Adil. It's really hot. And I hear Les Abdelone is quite cool, hence the fire. So good day to both. 15 minutes with Uncle Jiva. This time it's like working well for me. Semi-retired folks in America, that's good because I know a lot of you will be following the boys up the back there. That's cool. That's a finish there. What happens if they sneak in when everyone's asleep? You know what happens if they sneak in when everyone's asleep? They sneak in. Not a good thing. Don't look too much. I have a Ada. Japers. Yes, you got big flu. But anyway, it'll be fine. Ada, don't look okay. Kayleen Smith, are you going to be sleeping in the rib? Ada, are you going to sleep in the rib? I don't think so. Are you going to try to go live before you go out? Yeah, the process for the lives, what happens is it's a 3-part process. We will do a live to test the systems as we're leaving the marina, or just after we leave the marina. We'll say, hey, everybody, get ready, stand by, we're heading out, and it's going to be on in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, just so you know it's coming. And then we're in the rib on our way. The finish line is pretty close. We'll go out to a distance depending on what the weather's like. It looks pretty cool now. And then we'll start the live before they cross the finish line, obviously follow them across the line. And then we'll either follow them all the way in to the marina and then keep it rolling, or once they cross the line and drop sails and all that sort of stuff, we will finish the live there, and then we'll zip back and get on the marina, and we'll be there ready to welcome them when they get there. So there's usually going to be 3 little lives for each one. We're 2 hours ahead. So, yeah, that's right. So if it's 1900 UTC, we're 2100. So that's cool. Thanks, John. Hello, everybody. I think we're just about done. Helsinki crew have a rousing song prepared for their entrance to Cape Town. Yeah, exactly. I hope so. Pretty cool effort. So that's fun. The maiden translated of a 3-hour-old position. Yeah, they haven't crossed the line yet. You'll see that they haven't got an old position. That's just a normal position. All the boats in the fleet are on 4 hourly, so they go at every 4 hours, as they've done for the whole of the time of the South Atlantic and North Atlantic. But once they cross a line of about 70 miles out or something like that, it goes to 1 hourly. So both Maiden and Penjuic are currently on 1 hourly positions. As they get a lot closer, it'll go to half hour, and then it'll go literally, keeps tightening up. And as they cross the line, it's actually live. So you can actually see when the bow of the boat hits the line, and boom, you got it. And that's when it's calculated into the system. So we actually use that ourselves as a race committee to give us the actual official finish time. And greetings from Southampton. Great update, Don. Close finish it is. Yeah, it's great. Helsinki has done a great job. Okay. Oh, jeepers, lots of comments here. So I'm trying to slide it down. This is truly exciting. This new time suits us in Ireland too. Good. Appreciate the extra update. See you at the finish line. Peter Idre. Okay. See you out there. Boom. Okay, Godspeed Explorer. If they don't arrive by, what will happen if they don't arrive by the 1st of November? They won't arrive by the 1st of November, in my opinion. They have to stop for at least 4 days minimum. Everyone has to stop for 4 days. Their finishing time is recorded, and then the time for the second leg starts on the 5th of November. The 5th of November is the start, not the 1st of November. So if they miss the start, even if they're not even there, their time's actually started. So they come in, stop for a minimum 4 days, and then they can go. What else? I think we're done. Jammy Dodger is a biscuit. Oh, okay. Sounds yummy. All right, that's it. So I'll probably come back again and do another update in the morning sometime. Just no matter what time it is, we'll be following Helsinki in, and we'll do another one just to give you a background on that, to see what our opinion is. And the time could be any time. It could be 6 o'clock in the morning, could be 8 o'clock, could be 10 o'clock, whatever. But we'll do another one in the morning. So thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow. The end of the